Hi, everyone, and welcome to our career workshop series for the spring of 2022. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about assessments for major and career explorations and how this is going to help you on doing what you love. So, this presentation is created and facilitated by yours truly, Jocelyn Dorantes. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. So, before we get into anything, I just want to go ahead and go over the agenda for today. First, I will go ahead and talk a little bit about myself, introduce myself a little more, get to know everyone. And then I will go ahead and list our learning objectives for today's event. And then I will go into a brief little history about personality psychology as a whole. And then jumping into specifics like the MBTI and strong interest inventory, which are career assessments and personality assessments that we will be talking about. Then we just jump into the major and career exploration that this holds and giving you guys a brief little list of outside and career resources offered here at San Diego Mesa College. Okay. So a little bit about me. I am 19 years old. Like I previously stated, my pronouns are there listed, she, her, hers. I actually just recently graduated from Mesa College in the spring of 2022. I am transferring to San Diego State University as a psychology major. That being said, I really enjoy in my pastimes volunteering at my local community church, where I am a mentor to many. And I am just a really big advocate on mental health and the importance of taking care of yourself like that. So, yeah, that's just a little bit about me. So for today, our learning objectives will be first, I would really like that participants will be able to identify the importance of personality psychology. Then I would like participants to be able to define the two career assessments offered at San Diego Mesa College that I will go over. And I feel that after today's meeting, participants will be able to locate outside resources that can help their career and major exploration. Okay. So let's jump into it. So a brief little history about personality assessments. So the first really, I guess, considered personality assessment was actually done by Robert Woodworth. He actually screened the US Army recruits during World War I for shell shock. And shell shock basically is when soldiers were experiencing this sort of shock after being hit with an explosives. They would go into the state of like paralysis, like not being able to do anything, and have a lot of effects after. So they developed what is known as the personal data sheet. And this basically consisted of 116 yes or no questions covering somatic, medical, family, and social issues. So it was measuring anywhere from personality types, disorders, and behaviors. And this is what we now consider to be the very first personality assessment. And then moving a little, forward to modern day today, now personality assessments are actually such a huge industry being valued at $500 million. And it's also something that millions of employees take assessments as part of a personnel selection. So now we see a lot that employers actually are going ahead and making it a requirement that employees fill these sort of assessments out to see if they would be a good fit for the actual occupation. And some examples that we will be covering today are, like I listed before, the strong interest inventory and the MBTI. So now jumping into a little bit of personality psychology as a whole. So a little brief rundown that I like to use and I'll reference a lot during today's event is that personality psychology is a branch of psychology. It's still considered psychology. And it basically studies the characteristics, sets of behaviors, cognitions, meaning like the way we come to make decisions, and emotional patterns and how they differ among people, just how expressive we all are, and how our expressions are all very different. Our personalities are very different. We all have these sets of behaviors, and personality psychology is just really figuring out those differences and what they can mean. Okay, So now jumping right into the MBTI. So the MBTI is actually one of the assessments that is actually offered at San Diego Mesa College. It is otherwise known as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. And it's actually based on the Jung's theory of collective unconscious, where he really theorized that these random sets of behaviors are actually the result of the differences people prefer to use their mental capacities. So that is what collective unconscious theory really was all about. And this theory was then further expanded on and is what really influenced the creation of the MBTI by Catherine Briggs and Isabella Briggs. So they went ahead and took those theories that Carl Jung had, and they made it into the assessment that we all know and love now. And a little fun fact is that the MBTI was actually a tool that was used during the World War II to help American women find better job placements. So, as most of you guys know, during the time of war, many soldiers were obviously fighting out that war. So, who was left at home working and holding down, the household and society and just keeping everything functioning were the women. So the women were now forced to go into the work field. And this was a tool that really helped them figure out what they would do best and what they would thrive in. And this is going to be a constant thing that we see persist in all of the assessments, is that they help with these specific things like job placements. So it's just something to keep in mind. That being said, the MBTI it's basically an assessment that consists of 94 self-reported choice items, and they yield results on each of the 8 personality types, as well as the famous 4 dichotomies. And these dichotomies are introversion and extroversion, which is really how we like to handle or how we channel our energy. And that basically is meaning that an introverted person is normally somebody that is viewed as shy, but actually it's not that. An introverted person is somebody that actually gains their energy just being alone. So when they are fully exhausted and they want to go somewhere to recharge, they'll maybe take a hike. They'll maybe, focus on their self, just want to spend time with themselves because that is where they collect their energy from. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're a shy person. It's a common misconception. And an extroversion person is somebody that channels their energy in a group. They channel it, going out, maybe, socializing. That's where they find that. And then moving on to sensing and intuition. This is how we really take in information. This is like just the way how are we calculated, Are we the type of person to really feel things out? Or do we just kind of go with that gut feeling and that intuition of things? Are we more sensible? Do we use kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, do we use analytical numbers? We really think things out, things to do. That's more sensing. And then thinking and feeling is really how we make decisions. Do we make decisions out of critical thinking about, playing the pros and cons, being logical, or do we feel it? Do we make decisions out of feeling? Do we use a lot of empathy when we're making a decision? Do we use, do we judge with our quote unquote heart? It's kind of that sort of thing when we're talking about the thinking and the feeling. And then judging and perceiving is how our lifestyle is. This is, really talking about if we're the type of person to, look at the scope of things, want to know everything, and perceive all of the information that involves us when making a decision or just going about our lives, or would we rather just see, what we need to know, the very minimal to make a decision? That's kind of those two there. The strong interest inventory is another assessment that is actually offered, and it's the second assessment that we'll be talking about today that is offered at San Diego Mesa College. And this assessment is basically a general occupational themes that are in six broad areas, and it's theorized from the Holland Code that categorizes work environments into six categories. And Holland basically believed that in following these six categories, it would boost productivity and satisfaction. So he proposed that our career choices is an expression of our personality. So then in 1927, the Strong Interest Inventory was published. Um, and it was actually originally called the Strong Vocational Interest Blank, but then later it was changed to be called what we know it as the Strong Interest Inventory. So if you see on this image here to the left, it has all of these six categories. And I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys a little bit about each one. As we'll see here, in the first one, we have the investigative. So investigatives are also known as thinkers. They prefer scientific research and intellectual pursuits. They are commonly the people that lead. They're commonly the people that like to research, analyze, inquire information through these sorts of things. And then the artistic person, otherwise known as the creator, is somebody that prefers creative, imaginative, and intuitive pursuits. So these people, are artists, they're musicians, they love drama, design, and they really make sure that they're using their creative outlets. And the social person is otherwise known as the helper. They prefer helping, developing, and interpersonal pursuits. So the social people are really those otherwise known as people that serve others, that guide others, that teach others. So this, as we can see here, they're most of the time known as nurses, doctors, teachers, and things like that. A person that is in the enterprising category is commonly known as the persuader. They prefer leadership, influencing, and persuasive pursuits. So this is the person that can literally sell you anything. They love to lead. They love business. They love risk taking. So that's just a little bit about them. Maybe they'll be in real estate. Maybe they're, like a CEO of a company because they love to lead. This is the type of people that are in that enterprising category. And a conventional person is otherwise known as the organizer, and they prefer data, management, numerical, and organizational pursuits. So this type of person is somebody that really likes the methods of things. They really like to follow procedures. They really like to follow a certain routine, and they're very detail oriented. Many times these can be like accountants, that have to follow several rules and love the kind of procedure of everything. So that's just a little bit about the conventional. Realistic are otherwise known as the doers. So they prefer technical and outdoor and athletic pursuits. The realistic are also known sometimes to be kind of like the people that like to build, that they use machines. They're very hands-on. Maybe sometimes construction workers, can be plumbers. A lot of people in the trades industries would be those that are in the realistic category. So fun fact is that I really wanted to highlight is that your strong interest inventory results tend to really fluctuate. Unlike the MBTI, which is most of the time really set in stone, the strong interest inventory can fluctuate. As we grow, and we gain these skills and we kind of, become into our person, this will sort of shift, you'll see. And these are the ones that will tend to shift more. The MBTI is more like when we grow into our person at maybe like 18 years old, we will basically have the same MBTI for the rest of our life. But the strong interest inventory can fluctuate because of likes and dislikes that we might gain over experience of time. That may be like you get a specific job that you never thought you would like. And then after working there, you gain sort of skills, you gain sort of likes and preferences, and your strong interest inventory now changed because of it. That being said, this assessment contains 291 items that take between 35 to 40 minutes to complete, with questions that really ask, things about regarding occupations, subject areas, work and leisure activities, people, characteristics. So it wants to really know a lot of things that you want to thrive in, that you think you would thrive in, what you like to do in your pastimes, and things like that. Okay. So now I really want to jump into, why is this beneficial? So what? How does this help us? And now, what I really want to, highlight is that this really helps you better understand yourself. It allows you to understand the type of person you are. And ultimately, this guides you to make bigger decisions like, you know, what major would be good for me? What career would I be good in? Because you are understanding what you like and what you would be good at. And I think it also really helps you to identify which situations and environments are really ideal for you. And like you have seen in the fun facts, and as I was talking about the MBTI and the strong interest inventory, this is the kind of common idea between assessments, is that it helps you know in which environment you will have boosted productivity. And this ultimately results, I feel like, in happiness. And it allows you to, really find something that you'll love to do. So this is something really important to keep in mind, and that should really motivate you to want to take these sorts of assessments. And I feel it also allows you to recognize in your strengths and your weaknesses. When taking a strong interest inventory, which I've taken in the past, and I feel like not only did it really help me see what things I was good at, but it allowed me to see those that were at the bottom of the list and maybe things that I could do to improve that. And so that I could be, versatile in that sense. And I feel like this also really ultimately benefits you because it reaffirms your major and your career choices. I've also taken the strong interest inventory, and when I took it, it really reaffirmed the career choices that I was making, and it was really reaffirming my major. I always knew, or always thought I knew, that I always wanted to do something that was service oriented. I always wanted to be kind of in that social aspect that would love to guide and serve others. And I currently, like I said, I'm in a psychology major, and I'm in the route of, wanting to become a therapist. And when I took the strong interest inventory, not only did social come up as my first category, but it also showed me several occupations, and those being in therapy, that really made me feel like I was making the right decisions. So this is another thing to really keep in mind if you're doubtful about your major selection or your career selection. And then I also wanted to include at the end there just a benefit that it gives to others in the work field. It really, like I said earlier, it helps employers in the recruitment process. If you're an employer out there and you're thinking of what an effective way you could go ahead and choose candidates, I would really recommend that you look into assessments, because assessments are a really good indicator on those type of people's personalities and what situations they would thrive in. And I feel like if you yourself know the type of candidate that you're looking for and the type of environment that you are providing, you could then go ahead and make intellectual decisions based on those results, while at the same time taking into account qualifications and one-on-one meetings. Now, where do I start is what most people want to ask, and they ask themselves constantly. A lot of people aren't sure if the major should come first. And that means, are we first supposed to select our major, by the things that interest us? And then this will then dictate the classes that we take and motivate us to obtain the degree? Or are we supposed to choose a career first? Finding an occupation that will excite us. So then we find out what major will lead to it. Or are we supposed to just lead first with the lifestyle? Figuring out what our values are, what's important to us, and then seeing how this will influence our major and career choices. Well, the right answer is there is no wrong answer. There is no right and there is no wrong. You can start wherever you want to start. My biggest suggestion to students is to start in the place that will motivate you the most. Start in a place where you will find the most passion to continue on. Because if you're forcing yourself to start at a career that you're not passionate or motivated to continue on, then that will not motivate you or continue to obtain a degree. It would not motivate you to get to that career. You have to find something first that will motivate you. And if that's through your morals, through your values, then do that. If that is through your career choice, then do that. If there is an occupation that you admire, if you see a therapist and you admire them, if you see a teacher and you admire them, then you go ahead and choose that career first. If you find a major that you fall in love with, you've taken several biology classes and you love every single biology class you've taken, you love the professors you've been greeted with, then continue on with that. Continue on gaining your degree on biology, and then you will soon after figure out a career that you will love in that field. I think that's the biggest thing to consider, is that you don't have to start at a specific spot. You're able to start anywhere that you would like. Now, some outside resources that I would really like to go ahead and talk about today that are completely free and available to all students is these two that I have listed here. And the first one is the 16personalities.com. This is basically mimicking the MBTI, and it's very comparable to the MBTI. It helps you, it's a well-developed set of tools and assessments to help you explore how your personality traits affect various aspects of your life. So your competence, your perfectionism, your burnout, and more, which are things that the MBTI really consider as well. And this assessment is way shorter than the MBTI, only taking about 10 minutes. So if you're interested in taking the MBTI here at San Diego Mesa College, I would really suggest that you take some of these before. And then if you feel like you still want more one-on-one guidance from a counselor, so then go ahead and contact one. The next one is mynextmove.org. So this is basically one provided by the ONET interest profiler that really helps you find out your interests and then relates them to the world of work. So this will then help you decide what kind of careers you want to explore. And this is very comparable to the strong interest inventory that we talked about. And this is a pretty short one as well, only being 60 questions, and is very helpful because at the end of the assessments, it really allows you to get a good idea of careers. So maybe you already decided you love biology. Maybe you've already decided you love mathematics or psychology or English. Now, maybe you could take this sort of assessment to see what kind of career you could go ahead and get from that major. So these are both very helpful. I really recommend that you pause the video if you can and screenshot this to get the links and check these resources out. Now, closing up here, I really want to go ahead and talk about the career counseling resources. So the career counselors are an amazing resources that is offered to all students that attend San Diego Mesa College. And they really help with so many things. They take phone and virtual appointments as of now, and they really help you just with major and career exploration readiness. They help you with the obvious career assessments that we just talked about, which are the MBTI and strong interest inventory. They can go ahead and meet one-on-one with you after you've taken the assessment and go over your results with you. They can also help you with job and internship Like if you're going ahead and wanting to prepare a resume, they help you with resumes, as well as interview preparation, unemployment applications, and so much more. So I would really definitely recommend that you guys check out the MESA website and other career center and career counselors tabs. You will go ahead and find all the information on our lovely career counselors, which are all three of these down here. Raquel, Christina, Mary are our three counselors currently offered. And now additional career services. Well, if you are here, you found the first one, which is our YouTube channel. And it's a career peer workshops series that we've offered. And we have so many more that are old and from our former career peer ambassadors. We also offer peer-to-peer resume and cover letter review, which is something that is more personal and it's more informal. So if you're wanting something a little more, maybe comfortable, if you're more comfortable meeting with a peer, I would definitely recommend using our services with resume and cover letter review, so that you could get that personal student experience. We also offer other career resources and tools, like the one that is linked below, which is Handshake. Handshake is a job and internship board that was sent out to every student currently registered at all three of the sister schools, and I believe those that are registered in continuing education. And they were all made a account, and all you had to do was go ahead and activate your account through that email. So I really recommend that you guys all go ahead and look for this email and see what information you could find about Handshake, because there's an amazing job board that I like to tell students has a mix of Indeed, but LinkedIn at the same time, and so much more, because now you're able to even make appointments with the career resources that we have on campus. That being said, this concludes our presentation for today. If you have any other questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. My contact info is listed here, as well as feel free to contact the Career Center if you are interested in taking one of these assessments that I talked about today, or you are interested in meeting with the career counselor or even a career peer ambassador to make an appointment. I really strongly encourage that you guys go ahead and call us at our number and our district email. Thank you.